Hi, my name is Neb Kamus Sen Atumre, and this is the 8th part of the video Shamba Allah, the underworld. The city Nibiru was also called Nibiru and was ruled by Enlil. It was the most important city and considered the navel of the earth. This is where he built the Dirga, or sacred chamber, where he kept the tablets of old, the Akasha records, and the Duranki, the bond of heaven and earth. The Duranki was a communication satellite station built to be used as a bond between the Anunnaki living on the planet Earth and those that manned the craft Nibiru, the Igigi. He also built a place called La Arsa, meaning seeing the red eye, to keep close relationship between the Anunnaki and the Igigi. The Igigi are the beings that stayed in the skies and manned the craft Nibiru when the Anunnaki came to Earth. The Igigi remained in constant orbit around the planet Earth, acting as intermediaries between Earth and Nibiru. So now we have two separate societies of Anunnaki on Tiamat, planet Earth. The Democrats, who have become Tafugubut, agreeable, and the Republicans, who have become Ra'abut, disagreeable, and live in 7 cities: Sippar, Kish, Kusa, Shurupak, Uruk, Isin, and Iridu. Enlil set up a democracy from Greek demokratia, demos meaning people, and a government was set up as their original home on planet Earth was ruled. Enki set up a republic from Latin res publica, res meaning thing, publica feminine, of publicus meaning of the people, to repopulate planet Earth. He told the Anunnaki that he would bring their families back together so that they can rule the planet. Thus, they have the administrators and workers. The people of Enlil wore nose rings in their right nostrils, and the people of Enki wore gold earrings in their right ear. However, the ruler of the groups wore both nose ring and earrings in the left ear when there was peace and happiness. The woman wore it both in the nose and the ear, and both ears. This was passed down from generation to generation. The people of Enlil became the Ishmaelites, tribe today, and the people of Enki became the Israelites, tribe today. This created 2 castes, 4 groups of people that were to work the actual mines, called laborers, and 3 groups that were to work the laboratory, processing all the minerals, logging, charting, and managing. So in time, after many years of living on planet P, many problems arose. A revolt was starting in the lower minds among the lower class of Anunnaki, and it was bothering the higher class. The Anunnaki were complaining that the work was too hard and tiresome. More on this topic in a whole new video series to come. So, 17,250,000 years ago, the earth was hit by meteorite showers. This was done by the Anunnaki so that they may destroy the present life that was on the planet, which was inclusive of dinosaurs and other human life forms. This was done in order to procreate a new species called Homo sapiens. The meteorite caused a great vapor cloud to cover the sun. Almost everybody and everything except for certain tribes, the Kuthites, whose leaders Atum, King Atum and Queen Lilith, Cadmons or Adam's parents, and the Pataites or Pygmies, whose leader was Ptah, and Anas, the parents of Nakeba or Eve, were destroyed when the meteorite hit the planet, the other tribes. Those who knew took refuge in Shambhala. These beings exist not just in the center of the earth, they are everywhere. They are walking, talking, eating, and even sleeping with you every day. There are many types of beings that exist there. Some of these beings look like insects, others look like humanoids, reptiles, shaggies, and a host of other types of beings. Don't be so close-minded as to think that the inner earth is where these beings are located. They are here on the surface. Other than the ones mentioned earlier, they are the androids. Androids are machines made to look as human as possible. They do not have a complete soul. Then there are robots, which are mechanical. Scientists are now coming up with ways to make artificial muscles so that robots can move more like humans. Robotoids, which are part living organism and part machine, like your bionic man. Robotoids can be perfected scientifically by exact duplicates, with potential for reproduction and human development. This was done by a group called the Yahwehs, who created this on the planet Mars. Then there are synthetics, which are made from living organisms with synthetic blood and parts. Then clones. Let me give you a closer look. Then clones, which are the breeding of the same being, the birth by normal way of reproduction. Then there are organic robotoids. Former President Jimmy Carter was replaced by a robotoid within the first year of his presidency. The May 7, 1979 issue of Newsweek magazine ran an article practically admitting that the Jimmy Carter that was elected for president was not the same Jimmy Carter that completed his presidency. Former President James Jimmy Carter is now an ambassador. By that I mean the extraterrestrials have picked him as their man, as an ambassador between them who settles dispute for foreign relations. This man, who was almost 80 years at that time, flew over Iraq during the Gulf War in 1991, parachuted down and stopped Syria and Turkey from joining in. Mr. Carter solved the political problems in Haiti, a Caribbean island, in September of 1994. More than human beings have been duplicated by extraterrestrials to be used for experiments, etc. Some are for food. However, you are doing this right here on Earth in laboratories. The movie Boys from Brazil is an example of this cloning process. In the movie, 94 clones were made of Adolf Hitler of Germany during World War II. These clones were raised under the same conditions as Hitler, from childhood up until his manhood. Clones do have emotions. However, some lack normal emotions because some of them have been lobotomized. They feel they are misunderstood and suffer from emotional problems. A lot of human clones lack logic and normal emotions of human beings because scientists took them away. Some of them are so caught up into me, myself, and I, and are very egotistical. Everything is about them, how good they look. No one looks as good as them, and others care more for others than they care about themselves. They say, I don't hurt people. If only you could understand how I feel. Basically, you have to know yourself. They need human guides. They seem weird to a lot of people, and they need to get that out of them by sitting down and talking to a human friend. They do a lot of weird things like falling down, walking into stuff, and bumping into walls. Certain individuals, be they Mike Tyson or Jeffrey Dahmer, will be used for their Canaanite, Caucasian beastmen fighting machines of human killers. They will be used to make up their Robocop, their androids, and their Terminators. This is no joke. They take these people, put them in jail, or kill them, or put them in a hospital, take brain fluids, cell cultures, and breed more Jeffrey Dahmer's type of mentalities. Some other duplicates like Anwar Sadat and Sherman Hemsley, who played the character George Jefferson on the TV sitcom The Jeffersons. Then you have duplicates who are considered of different age, like Mick Jagger and Don Knotts. Mick Jagger is the new breed. If Don Knotts had been worth building, they would have put him in a coma state. Most of the experimenting took place between the years 1914 AD, when it began, and 1952, when it ended. So they have 1, 5, 6 duplicates or clones walking around, not serving any purpose. Clones are not all monitored for 4 generations, as in the case of Golda Meir, former Prime Minister of Israel, and Lyndon B. Johnson, because they are in the same era. They can speed up the copy so much by cloning that you can produce identical twins. If a person was 26 years old, they can speed him up to look like the older person who may be, for example, 30 years. The clone is taken through a time machine. Most clones aspire for power. They could be of different fields or in different fields, as Geraldine Ferraro, who was the first woman to run for vice president of the United States, and David Bowie, who was a successful rock star. Any particular set of clones usually identify with the same things, as in the case of identical twins. One twin will like the color red, but the other will like orange, which is closely related to red. But they themselves don't know why they are attracted to the same things. In the case of former Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Sherman Hemsley, known as George Jefferson, everyone knows that George Jefferson is a homosexual, but unknowingly to the public, his duplicate Anwar Sadat had homosexual tendencies. It was in his genes. Clones always aspire for the top. One could be a regular actress and the other a great pornography star. One could be a singer in America and another a spokesman in England. One would like croutons and his clone will be a chef cooking with croutons in France. Or you could see a math teacher in Nigeria, and when you get back home to America, you say to someone who is a math teacher, you look like that math teacher in Nigeria. In ancient Sumer and Egypt, where the Anunnaki, meaning those who came down to earth in 50s from Anu, who is the Most High, for every Anunnaki, there are 9 clones. 9 clones. Originally, there were 7 for the 7 major organs in the body. Each clone of an Anunnaki will be used for a healthy heart, a healthy liver, etc. So, androids and robotoids took the place of people of power, people in power. The robotoids were manufactured by the Russians in the mountains of Las Vegas and programmed with the entire history of the person they were intended to replace, down to the memories of childhood experiences and family nicknames. In 1996-80, there was a UFO seen over Russia that had descending streams of light that were spirits that inhabited the bodies of these androids. Careful planning made them difficult to detect the difference between human and humanoid. However, according to the cosmic awareness, a trained eye could spot their physical limitations. They showed no Adam's apple. They did not eat in public, for they had no need for food. They used pills. And when caught in a situation whereby they were required to eat, would only eat soup and light salad. This awareness indicates that these entities generally had mottled skin, something like pizza crust. This awareness indicated these entities would walk or had a walk that was reminiscent of a penguin or a duck, a kind of waddle back and forth. This is what they do. They implant themselves in strategic parts of the establishment, uproot the old and put themselves in, or their hybrids. An Alabama newspaper ran an article about the cover of the June 7th, 1994 AD edition of the World or Weekly World News about 12 senators in which weekly world news claimed that they are space aliens. In the article, the senators didn't deny being extraterrestrials and were even quoted as saying, "We are space aliens." I'm amazed that it took you so long to find out. Now think about it. Tabloid newspapers have a reputation for being liars, untrustworthy, hoaxers. Why would a trustworthy newspaper run the article if it didn't have any significance? If anything, it would be dismissed as a false accusation and never talked about again. This is just another way that they are trying to inform you of the existence of extraterrestrials. Don't you all see the game? And it doesn't stop there. It could be the facial expression, the way the person laughs or speaks, so much so that they make you do a double take. It could be a complete stranger to you, not your sister or your brother, or even a distant relative, and he or she may look just like someone you know. Of course, your next reaction is to walk up to that person and say, "You look familiar. Haven't I seen you someplace before?" Or have you called someone from a distance? You called out to them and they turn around and it is not the person you thought it was.